right. Hey now. Welcome everybody to another episode of the New Progressives. I'm here today with Jenni Lee and Tricia Smith. Thank you, ladies. Now, I said that all cheerful, and I feel like a newscaster who's like, now the weather, right? After 10 kids dead today. Ukraine.
Or like CNN did the other day with that Applebee's commercial.
Yeah, in the morning. That's not right. Mm-hmm. So we're in solidarity with Ukraine at TNP, and it's war, so things are fluid and things are changing. And last week, me and Jenni talked, and we both agreed. We talked about the NATO alliance, and we talked about the no-fly zone. And I have to admit, I'm weakening, and that's why I wanted to have this discussion, because I want to keep having this discussion. This is for public consumption. My sister was like, this is above my pay grade. No, this is specifically what we have to contribute. We need to be letting our Congress people and our senators know, and our president know where we stand. So it's imperative that we participate in our decision making. And so she's still at the no-fly zone level. Josh, who we did a podcast about January 6th a week or so ago, I got his opinion, and I asked him if I could read it to y'all, and then we'll launch off from there. And so I told him, I was like, I wanted to talk about this because I'm weakening. And he said, the bottom line is, no matter how gut-wrenching the situation in Ukraine is, a no-fly zone leads directly to World War III. That will make this Russo-Ukrainian war look like a tea party. That is the unavoidable reality. So that's where I was last week. You know, we all know, I understand the geopolitical reality that if we do this, that escalates. If we provide weapons or if we shoot down Russian planes over Ukraine airspace. Here's where I'm weakening. I think the Ukrainians are right. I think President Zelensky is right. I think if you're looking at Putin's behavior, and not just his behavior, his body language, the things he's saying, the dude he's not copacetic. He's not a rational actor. Now, Josh disagrees with me. He thinks he's totally rational because militarily he's got Ukraine surrounded in a strategic way. The thing is, to do this is lunacy. To have all these consequences and not really give a damn. I mean, he attacked a nuclear power plant. I mean, you're not playing with the full set of bocce balls now. And so my opinion is we need to start treating him like the irrational actor that he's being. And I think he's not going to stop. And World War III is inevitable if we don't stop him now. Your opinions?
Well, you know my opinion. I have long thought, and I honestly, and I don't know that I am correct on this, but I have long thought we should just call his bluff. I mean, that's been my opinion from the jump. I haven't changed my opinion on that. And I'm not saying that I'm correct. I'm just saying that that's my opinion based on the fact that he's a crazy man. And not because he disagrees with me or because he's evil. There are a lot of evil people in the world who aren't crazy, but he's lost his mind right now. And nothing that he is doing is making logical sense. And that's where I am of the opinion, call the man's bluff. And let's, because we're into it, right? I mean, and shut him down. Because here's what I do know is that, and I understand what Josh is saying. Yeah, it's heart-wrenching and it's gut-wrenching and it's disturbing on every single level. Yes, and it is. And that alone makes me want to be like, let's do whatever we can to save those innocent people. Because I really think that, as humans, we should want to do that. But aside from that, if you look at it simply from a national security issue, if you look at it simply from I'm an American and I want to protect my people or my troops and all of these things, right? And we know that we are beholden to NATO. We have signed agreements. This is who we are. So if he takes Ukraine and then begins to encroach on other countries around that our NATO allies, then we're in it for real.
Yeah.
So why
And
should we let him dictate the terms?
thank you. You said it, T.
Right.
Go ahead, Jenni.
Well, I think he's just trying to provoke us. I think if we do a no-fly zone, the first Russian shot down, he's going to declare war.
Yep. That's
Well,
a
he has
valid
declared
point.
war effectively, I think.
See, this is why we have to debate it. I think you're right, Jenni, and I think you're right, Tricia. I told Josh. I mean, none of us have the whole answer. Well, this is why we really have. This is why I was attracted to international politics to begin with. It's supposed to be totally rational when it's irrational. It's so freaking complicated and nuanced, and I like brain puzzles. So, but I don't know the answer.
Well, I don't think any of us, I mean, anyone who says that they have the right answer on this one is just arrogant and they're wrong. And
Yeah.
then I'm not listening.
Yeah, I think even politicians, everyone, because we don't really know what's going on in their head over there.
Exactly. And again, so Josh added, thinking the enemy is irrational is the propaganda classic mistake the public always makes in history. Putin is rational. He knew NATO would not defend a non-NATO country. He knew that because it is literally public NATO policy. He might have underestimated Ukrainian resolve or the West's unified response, but that doesn't make him irrational. He's agitated for sure and pissed off it's not going as well as he hoped, but that doesn't mean he's mad or lost his mind.
No, and the way that Josh is looking at it, he's correct, right? He's 100% correct. But then you have to look at, you have to take into consideration though, that logic doesn't enter any of these decisions that he has made thus far.
That's right.
So he is, you know, divorced himself from reality, from reason, from humanity, but we all knew that a long time ago. And so, yeah, you know, looking at the enemy as, you know, crazy or whatever, I mean, we all say that it's, you know, hyperbolic, but
sometimes it's true.
Well, yes, sometimes, yeah. But he shows a whole different set of illogical thought right now. And he is in his frustration. I mean, I was just listening to some folks discussing this tonight too. And they're talking about the fact that he isolates himself from anyone who will give him logical counsel. So he's kind of holed himself up in this whole, it's my way or the highway, and everything I do is perfect.
Exactly. So that's in addition to one, his ego's been hurt. And he's already not thinking clearly. So now he's having this schizophrenic moment. And on top of that, he's not listening to people who would give him rational advice. So, I mean, what do you think, Jenni?
Well, I heard another general was supposedly just killed today as well, or at least announced killed. So he's had two generals killed now. So
yeah, and he was like a big deal, wasn't
he? Killed. Huh?
He was like a big deal general, wasn't he? Like,
there's two of them, yeah, and that's two of them.
Well, that makes sense.
Alleged.
He's not making sense.
And for what? What is the
when
end
he's
goal?
telling the people nobody's being killed.
Yeah. I mean, what is the goal?
His speech today was that nobody important was killed except for that one guy that he honored or whatever.
Yeah. See, this is why, like I said, from all, if you even geopolitically, this is the equation I'm working out in my head. So geopolitically, that's right. Geopolitically and militaristically, this is very risky. Helping them with a no-fly zone. That would be an escalation. But like you said, Tricia, I believe Putin is declaring, he's banking on the fact that we're going to act rational, no matter how irrationally he acts. I agree with Josh. He knew that we weren't going to defend a non-NATO country, and he's banking on that. So he keeps inching and inching and inching and pushing a line. I was telling you this yesterday, Tricia, like,
It's pretty-
you know, growing up, we got a 2 count. We didn't even get a 3 count growing up.
Mm-mm.
Like my mom and dad would
didn't
tell
get
us to
2
do
counts.
something, and the warning was when they told you to do it. And then they say, don't make me tell you again.
Mhm.
Don't make me
Yeah.
say it again. Right?
That was
That's
it.
your warning. You're not getting a 3 count. 3 count is I'm busting your butt, right? Like now it's over. Negotiation is over. We sound silly when we're like, okay, we're going to give Putin to the count of 10. All right, now to the count of 20. Is the count of 30. Right, we're at like 50. Okay, at some point, you got to pull the trigger and bust that ass. Because
No, stop. We're done here.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's just going to keep provoking because that he can blame it on somebody else other than him.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, like
Yeah.
But which is
the
the other
USA
kind of
or
crazy.
whoever shot us out of the sky.
Well, that's the other crazy thing, though. I mean, we all wake up in the same world every day, right? We all know. I mean, some things are. We all hear you. We all see you. So just because you, Putin, have said, well, no, I mean, we didn't provoke it. We didn't do anything. We were just there trying to, say we're going to denazify this country. And so we're, and we're bringing peacekeepers and we're doing all these nice things. Literally no one in the world believes you.
Right. It's
No one.
verifiably a lie.
That. So
And-
stop saying it because no, you're not. What is the point? Why are we listening to you? You're just wasting air.
That's
And my
more
energy.
proof.
Well, I wonder if he even knows that his own people are out protesting. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe no one's telling him.
Yep. That's what I mean. Like he's not getting information to begin with.
I mean, he's isolated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so he has his cronies doing his dirty work. Meanwhile, his troops do not want to be where they are. I mean, they're little boys, basically, who don't want to fight this war. You have the, basically the Gestapo, punishing everyone who would be protesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, it begs the question why anybody says they would rather live in Russia than a Democrat or an independent or any other party. That's crazy. I mean, go with God, I guess, but whatever.
Right.
Propaganda is powerful.
Indeed. I mean, that's just crazy pants to me.
And that's what he's used to. He's used to whatever he says is people just gobble up. That they're not, as much as he's trying to shut them out, they're not being shut out. I mean, I think Ukraine is really being brilliant the way they've been having those Russian soldiers that they're capturing call home. I mean, because the reporters have said they've tried to tell their parents, look, I'm in Kyiv and bombs are falling. And their parents are like, Putin wouldn't do that. He wouldn't fire on residential areas. They're like, dude, mom, dad, I am here about to die because your president is killing and bombing us. And they're like, you lie. That's fake news. No, I mean, so either way, the bodies are coming back. Either way, their kids are calling.
Right.
By the way, they ain't lying. We know we thought we were doing exercises, and the next thing you know, we're here. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, he supposedly cut the international internet off, and now they're only going to be using Russian satellites
Yep.
to try to, close them into a bubble, I suppose.
But here's what's so stupid. Okay, nobody's going to notice that. Like, if we woke up today and couldn't check our email, couldn't get on Facebook, we would be like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Well, no, because didn't that happen not that long ago? Or was it? Oh, no. It was the day that Facebook shut down because it was transferred from Facebook to Meta or whatever the stupid thing is now. So, yeah, everybody was like, wait, what just happened? And then they thought that they were going to pass that off as like, oh, that was just a glitch. No.
Yeah, people saw that.
Literally, the world noticed, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, if they had the Russian satellites, though, I think they would still have internet. They just wouldn't be able to maybe get to sites that are in Russia.
Yeah, they're blocked. I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know. And Malika, you have written books on this, so you might be able to address this. But I don't know how like because somebody was saying this morning that some people who have VPNs, or maybe it was last night, anyway, that they can access other sites.
Yeah.
Is that still a possibility though for them?
Oh yeah, if they can. So Ukrainians, but it has the spread. So Ukrainians have created VPNs. It's kind of like if you said, if you posted somewhere, dial this number, like how they did in India,
Okay.
where they put the Google,
Okay.
whatever I'm trying to say,
Yeah.
and gave the digits for it. They're doing that basically, like, here's where you can get unfiltered independent news. And so Russia can't hack into that private VPN that's already been set up. They'll probably try, and they'll probably figure out a way at some point. But
because it's Russia, they hack everything.
Exactly. But if they keep changing it, there's different VPNs that are out there. So I mean, they've been very smart about staying way ahead of. And so, yeah, I don't even think he'll be able to stop him. So again, the news is getting through. The rest of us ain't fooled. It's not 1950, despite what's going on in his lunatic brain. I mean, it is the 21st century. The rest of us do know. We have satellites pointing down like, your shit is all on the border, by the way. He's like, no, we're withdrawing. We're like, no, you're not.
No,
right?
We can see you. That's what's so weird to me. As if these despots who do these kinds of, dystopian psycho things, and they're like, no, what you think you see is not what you see.
Yeah.
And then there are people who go along with that, like,
which
sure,
is
okay,
nuts.
That's insane. That is legitimately insane. And it is idiocracy at its finest. I mean, really.
Like Nazi Germany was like, yeah.
Well, they're just taught not to trust anything but the propaganda. So they'll find a way around anything that isn't their propaganda.
Yep.
Which I guess because it's hard for me to wrap my mind around that. But that's because I was born and raised in the United States of America.
That's right, with a free press.
Somebody being able to do that is so foreign to us as Americans. Because nobody takes any politician at their word, full stop. Here,
and that's right, Jenny. I mean, and you've got a point, because that's, again, this is why they've been able to have Facebook in Russia, and they did have all these algorithms. Yeah, because their people they self-censor. They've been programmed to believe that if they go on an American site, if they go to Facebook, then it's the CIA that's going to grab their info and
do what?
Yeah, like this is a CIA plot. This is an American device to get your info. So they self-select away from Western sites and stuff. So they learned how to self-censor. And so the Russian government hasn't had to ban sites like that because the people are suspicious of them.
Well, it's kind of like we don't open emails from unknown people with attachments in it, with whatever. I mean, they have the same kind of distrust of anything coming from the West as we have with any.
It's like what they did to Fox and what they've done to the right wing in this country. People who watch Fox and shit don't watch anything else. They're like, no, this only they tell the truth. They do not let anything else in. That's Russian propaganda 101. That's what they've done to their people for centuries.
And everybody's a communist.
Yeah.
No. It depends. Sometimes you're a socialist. Sometimes you're a fascist.
Right.
Sometimes you're a racist. Sometimes you're a Democrat or a libtard.
Right. So silly. But yeah.
What I'm saying is I'd like to get a glass of water, but okay.
I mean, it's nuts because like in Russia, like in Nazi Germany, Hitler was able to cut out the press totally. Nobody got any information except for what he blared out on their megaphones all over the country.
And flyers.
Yeah, and flyers. But
like in the Mortal Storm.
Memes of the day.
Yeah. like their memes, like putting out, and that's all the people got. And they got those films. There weren't any other Western films in the movie theaters anymore. It was all Russian or German propaganda. And so now Putin has mastered that same technique, but using social media. And he's got our right wing just bananas. I mean, they are nuts. What did you say, Jenni? Like Putin, Trump? Look, ain't that a Freudian slip?
What was it?
Didn't you say
Huh?
like his grand idea? Tell everybody what this dumbass's grand idea is. Quit listening to the dude who told you
grand
dream.
idea, and he said this in public. Okay, he says this in public is that we get some, jets, and we put, and I can't remember which flag, but we'll just say put Chinese flag on it, start bombing Russia, make Russia think it's China, and just let them fight each other.
Yeah, this moron, because nothing could go wrong from that, you dumb tard. I swear, I can't. This is so stupid. My brain is going to explode from that kind of stupidity.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the coyote from the cartoon back in the days.
Yeah. Yeah, great bam, wham.
Yes. Absolutely.
Meet me.
No, it's that Roadrunner. Yes.
Yeah, Roadrunner. Yeah. The dumb idea.
Okay, and then the big old Acme sign would just have that big old Chinese flag.
This way. Painting the whole, there's the whole jump
Not
on
even
the
the
ground.
fact that he announced it on TV, so.
Well,
here's what's so crazy about that. What's even crazier than the fact that he said it was the fact that he said it and he has no idea how insane that is.
Oh no, he thinks
and there are people that are like, we love him and let's give him money and let's,
he should
whatever.
be president again.
24, woohoo.
Yeah.
No, could you imagine if he were the president right now?
It's over. It's over if he's president now. We wouldn't be defending Ukraine. We'd be helping Russia.
Yeah, which I'm 1,000% against.
I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, look at what we did on our own border.
Well, he also said that he told Putin we're gonna bomb Moscow one day.
Mm-hmm. See,
said,
what an idiot.
He was. I'm gonna bomb Moscow one day.
Yeah, like you point out all the time, Tricia. He's the one who called for giving up guns in America. He was the one who said, "We're gonna come take your guns."
He's like, without due process. He's like, why do we need due process? And he legitimately said, and I watched him live, so it's not like somebody was airing a report and they were, splicing his words together. He said, why do we need due process? Why don't you just, before you give anybody the chance to defend themselves, you just go and if you think that they're going to do something bad, you take it and then you deal with the due process after.
Take their guns.
That's not really what the Constitution says, and that's that document you swore an oath to. For the record, maybe you're not familiar with it. I mean,
oh yay! Zoom gave us 40 more minutes, Jenni. Yes, I love it. Thank you, Zoom. They were just like, yeah, we've removed your 40-minute limit for your group. Thank you. Appreciate it.
You have
Basic.
You have a no charge Zoom account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next time, let me know because I have a paid Zoom account.
See, next time we gotta do it on your thing. Yeah, because I'm like I've got so many things that I'm paying right now for this website. I'll do the free one. But yeah, they lifted it. We're having a great conversation. Don't cut us off, right?
No, it's
Right.
But yeah, so I don't know what the answer is though, truly. I really don't. I mean, I love talking about it, and of course we all are smart, right? And we all understand how smart we are. But really and truly, I honestly don't know what the answer is and what the next step should be. But I think that we can't just sit back and wait, though.
Right. That's the thing.
I was listening to this woman from Ukraine, the foreign ambassador lady today, talking on Katie Tur's show, which is not one I love, but and she really was having a hard time expressing empathy for this woman. This woman's sobbing, talking about the way that people are dying. I mean, this little girl who died of dehydration, all alone. She's a child, a little girl, and they could not get her water because this. And then meanwhile, this maniacal, evil, I mean, horrible, craven human is telling people, well, no, we're not doing anything. We're not hurting anybody. We're not going after civilians. I mean, dude, yeah, you are.
Right. And to what end?
People,
That's what I just don't get. Like,
no.
at this point, you know you're never going to be able to rule Ukraine. You're not going to be able to take over the country. That is clear.
I'm not going to let you do that. Not even if you do take their bodies, you will not take their spirit.
You're not going to give up.
A country that is beholden to you ever.
This is only making it worse. This is only ensuring that they're never going to give in, and you're going to deal with an insurgency.
And that's maybe why he's not stopping. He's at a point of no return. Like,
thank you.
How do you back all this back up?
You can't. In his mind, he can't.
It's like, oops.
Yeah. And to save face. He's an egomaniac. He's a megalomaniac. He's like, no, everybody's looking at him like, oh, look, he done backed himself in the corner. He has no options. That makes him worse. That's making him crazy.
Is like the mass gunman who goes in and he's like, I'm going to take as many people down before I take myself or let somebody else take me. I mean, that's kind of the attitude I feel like he has. Like, if I can't win, nobody can win, and I'm going to take everybody with me when I go.
So again, we got to start calculating like that. I know we have rules in NATO, and I know we have rules of internet, how we do these things internationally. I get it. I dig it. But I think we're in a different moment now because I just don't think he's doing this.
No, I agree.
I think we're at that point where we've got to treat him like a madman because he is acting like a madman. I don't think
when he almost blew up a nuclear plant.
Which is insane.
Right? I mean,
that alone should make people say, the man's not dealing with flow back of cars.
Yeah.
Wait.
I mean, because the logic isn't working anymore. Look, we're like, okay, we don't want to do the no-fly zone. We don't want to provoke Russia because we're afraid that it might set off a world war and a nuclear world war at that. Right. We're all aware and cognizant of that possibility. But the dude was ready to bomb a nuclear power plant. He doesn't give a shit. He's the one who's saber rattling about nuclear bomb. And again, like you said, he's like one of these gunmen who's like, fuck it. If I gotta go, we all gotta go. And he's like the what was that? The minister from Ukraine. He was like, if you want to kill yourself, just go down in the bunker. You don't need a nuclear weapon for it. But I think he was like, kill yourself. So I mean, but I don't think he will. He wants to make a public display. I'll just pull the nuke. And so we've got to start operating like it's going there anyway. And Josh is like, well, there's your assumption. Yeah, we've got to start making some assumptions, buddy.
And no, I agree.
Am I wrong?
Because even if the nuclear plant was an accident, that's a really, really bad miscalculation to be making. So he can't be trusted for that either.
Right.
Well, I think that we need to make educated assumptions and use our discernment and say, okay.
Yeah, and not just look at it geopolitically and not just look at it militaristically. And like I said, I don't take what he says, take what he does and versus what he says. I
psychologically.
There's
he's mad.
There's a psychological component that we've got to take in consideration. So again, and now when it comes to the actual, I've listened to a lot of people today, a lot of different experts and Morning Joe had a lot of them on. And so there are options outside of a no-fly zone is what I'm hearing. Here's what I've collectively heard. Now, I'm no military genius, but they say that there is the option to help them cover the skies with land to air missiles and stuff. And so they can give them those kinds of weapons that will help the Ukrainians fight that off. But that too might be seen as an act of aggression. So then you had Poland step in and say, look, we'll give them our old fighter jets. And the US was like, okay, if you do that, we'll give you our old F-22s. Well, then Poland's reeled that back because they're like, okay, well, yeah, no, because
didn't they say that they're going to give it to the United States to give to them?
Yeah, now they're saying they're sending them to Germany.
You're our proxy.
Yeah, they're sending them to Germany. And just like surprised, like the US was like wasn't in on this. They're just like, here, what we're gonna give them to Germany, and then y'all take care of it from there. So the US is like, wait, what? Now, what's now? So everybody is afraid to provoke Putin. I think Putin is mad enough that he is provoked, no matter what we do.
Yeah.
I like your bunker idea, Malika.
Me too. I think that dude had a point. He was like, you don't need a nuclear weapon. Just do what dude did in 1945 and go find you a bunker. Right. Please do. Please and thank you.
Seriously, because, oh my gosh, this is out of control.
It really is.
We'll give you a really great
It
rate
feels like
on
a
it.
movie.
Yeah, it does. Doesn't it feel like we're like in a classic movie in the 1930s and 40s?
No, it really does. Well, and I
Ugh.
want to watch the Mortal Storm again.
Yeah,
Such a great movie.
the movie.
I watch it as much as every time it comes on, I watch it because it's so good and it's weird how it's so applicable to today.
Yeah, it's
Because we
scary
learned
how
nothing
applicable.
from that time at all.
And
It's
how
just-
quickly it like devolves.
Mhm.
Just like now. That's the scariest part, is that it just trickles forward.
We're having
Well,
the
they've
Salem
been
witch
getting their
trials
propaganda
again.
for years.
What's that?
Mhm.
They've been getting their propaganda for years, getting them ready.
Yeah.
Well, and that to add to that though, because okay, yes, there have been countries that are, dystopian and forever, right?
Mhm.
And they have people who get propaganda and they're, it's just inundated with it all of the time. But we used to be a little bit better at keeping that at bay, except that we have our own fair share of propaganda here. I mean, we are literally, having the 21st century version of the Salem witch trials going on right now.
Yeah. We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, with trans people and gay people, definitely.
You can't say it. You say it, guys. I mean, it's insane. We are
They
crazy.
literally keep saying there's witches at his church.
Yeah, it's not a lie.
And so teachers are going to be outing kids, and what are you going to do? Burn them at the stake? I mean, come on.
Right.
It's insane.
I'm gonna tell your parents on you.
Right? Like, what is going on? For real? That is the craziest thing in the world ever.
It is.
I mean, what happened to?
Well, it sounds like he may have had an affair, and that's his excuse.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. So we don't. So to be clear, then we only care about the Second Amendment in this country, unless we want to attack the Capitol, and then their First Amendment. That's okay.
Right.
But Fourth Amendment, we don't care.
Right.
Voting rights, that's not a thing. So, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be clear so I know what we're dealing with.
Again, this is like I said, this is the only thing that worries me about this whole situation is this requires some real sober thought. I say ironically, non-ironically. It takes some real sober thought. And I just don't think Americans, one, know just how serious a moment we're in. And two, without knowing that, how are they supposed to make an educated decision? This is why I wanted to have these open discussions so that we can debate at least what we're talking about right now.
Well, imagine, I don't know, because even in Ukraine, where they can reasonably understand what it's like, the sound of a bomb. I mean, we don't know what the sound of a bomb is like.
No.
We have no idea.
Spoiled.
We are
We're spoiled rotten.
And you know,
Yeah.
we shouldn't feel badly for that.
Mm-mm.
I mean, we were blessed with this experience of being born and raised in the United States.
Yeah,
So
but we went too far. We've overindulged ourselves
oh
as
no,
a
we
nation.
are gluttonous. Absolutely.
Really
As a
gluttonous.
people, we're incredibly gluttonous and greedy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want to do anything to make ourselves better, to improve our, you know, education, or improve our knowledge.
Because it's already the best in the world.
Yeah. We
So
believe our own
smart.
hype.
We speak Americanish. That's all I need to know.
Yeah. Speak American. Yeah. Half of Americans
We
don't
rate like last on everything.
right. I just, yeah, I'm like, I'm coming more down on the side of we got to do more. We've got to assume that Putin will go that extra mile. I say we're at the point where the assumptions are wrong. Our assumptions have been based on a rational actor. Again, this is why they keep taking these diplomatic meetings. They go nowhere. Diplomatic meetings while he continues to bomb them. And when there's supposed to be a ceasefire, and he's still bombing them.
Right.
Like, we can't keep letting him play us like that. Again, that you're counting down to 100. Now that's not a real threat then. You know? I'm gonna count to 20, 50, 60. Okay, when do you stop? I'm done. I'm done.
I think, but then, you know, and this is me, the person who's not in this, I don't know as much as our experts in our geopolitical realm know, right? Fully admit that. This is me saying, as a human, as a layperson, you walk up to me on the street, I'm not going to warn you, right?
Yeah.
Don't come at me because it won't go well.
Right.
I mean, that's just, you know,
yeah.
We don't give warnings for people who are evil.
You can't. Not when somebody's this crazy that there's no end. They're going to keep going until you stop them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll call you. I mean, call your bluff. I would rather, if you plan to take me out, right? I would rather go down fighting.
Yeah.
So, and I would rather than face you and call your bluff if you think you're going to take me out. Okay, fine. Then let's go.
Right.
Let's get into it.
Putin keeps saying, if you cross this line, here's what I'm going to do. If you cross this line, here's what I'm going to do. Listen, you don't own this. You don't get to dictate what's happening now. I mean, sorry.
Here's the thing. I used to do that to my sister when we shared a room when we were little. And she'd be like, you can't cross this line, because we were like my side of the room, your side of the room. And she'd be like, you can't come over on my side of the room. Well, what do you think that I am going to do?
Yes, right? I'm coming over.
I'm coming over. She was like, Mom, she's on my side of the room. I'm like, no, I'm not. She's like, yes. My mom would be like, Tricia, get off her side of the room. So I'd be like, okay, fine. So I'd stand away from her side of the room, but I would stick my finger out and I'd put it on her bed. Like, Mom, Tricia's on my side of the room. And I'm like, no, I'm not.
See, this is why moms go crazy sometimes. Like, what the fuck? This is why I didn't want a kid. That's a lot.
So my mom would be like, stop provoking her. She's going to, you know, whatever. I mean, so yeah, I mean, I would call her bluff all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to do whatever. Well, I'm going to do it then too, right?
At some point, you've got to.
Yeah. And so I feel like he's being that kid who's like, I'm going to go do what I want to do. And what are you going to do to stop me?
Yeah.
We're like, we're going to count to 20. Right. And so meanwhile, he's running around a crazy person.
Giving them timeouts. I'm done giving you timeouts. You're about to spank that ass. It's enough of this. You out of control.
I don't think he's going to stop till somebody does give him a good spanking.
Yep. That's right. That's the conclusion I've come to. He's not going to stop until somebody does spank his ass. We got to call the bluff. We got to quit counting them down. It's enough with all the fucking counting here.
You mentioned this morning his whole demeanor and his body language and all of the things. And I was watching one of his stupid little speeches earlier. And when I was putting my face on, and he doesn't look good. Like
No.
he literally looks like he has aged 100 years in the last couple of weeks. And he's not
steroids. Steroids. His face is swollen, like either cortisol from stress, or he's doing steroids of some kind to give him energy.
Does not look good at all.
Ambassador Westfall was saying how he saw he had tremors, like his hand was shaking and he couldn't control it. And he said he saw it up close.
Dementia too, some signs of dementia.
I'm telling you, the dude is out of control. People, we can't keep treating him like, oh, he's going to come to the negotiating. At some point, he's going to realize that he's outmatched. He's not going to be able to control Ukraine. He's going to come to the negotiating table. He's not. He's already made it up in his mind just to say.
Because a logical person would have said, there's no one in the world who's on my side.
That's right.
Everybody wants to make my life miserable. I should figure out a way to gracefully bow out of this and live to fight another day. Every logical person on the planet would do that.
And he had a way, and the U.S. gave him a way, and NATO gave him a way.
And he's like, nah.
Yep.
So again, he's not acting rationally. He thought he was going to come in and take that country in 2 days. And when that hasn't happened,
it's like Joshua in the Battle of Jericho, right? Like Ukraine is Joshua.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, you wouldn't think that all of these little things, you've got grandmas and their Molotov cocktails, and you've got students and all kinds of, people who are just like, no.
Moms and dads, did you see that commercial where they've there's a commercial where the Ukrainians, they're saying, yeah, I'm an economics professor. And they're putting on their gear and, putting their weapons on their shoulders. I'm a teacher. I'm a, librarian. I'm a, it's like that is the shit.
I just want to say, Americans, pay attention. This is how you do patriotism. Right. Seriously.
Exactly.
We used to know how. I mean, again, after Pearl Harbor, they didn't have to send out recruits. Anybody who was age signed up.
And it wasn't like.
Well, I've been saying we have to draft, they can send the proud sissies right away.
Hell yeah. You send them over there. Well, I don't know if we want to export our hate, because that can make even more problems for us. I don't know.
Well, wait, what is it that they used to do what did they do in North Vietnam? They
re-educated them.
Re-education camps.
Re-education camps. Look at you.
We can just, sign them to those.
It's possible. They need it.
Oh, well, let's start with education before we do re-education.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're crazy. Siding with Putin, cheering him on. You lunatics.
It's sickening.
While screaming my rights.
You're right. That's what's so insane. Is if you want to be Russia, by all means, go with God. Go there, because you don't have rights there.
Right.
You're screaming about you.
They probably take him.
They would. They would.
I'm not gonna stop them.
Be with God. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Right? Bicycle.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just the irony is palpable, for real.
It really is.
I'm just like, okay. I mean, I don't even have the energy to try to explain to somebody how insane that is. Like, we are not going to have a conversation. And then they'll scream, oh, it's just like a liberal. Just run away from a conversation. I'm like, this isn't a conversation. This is you screaming lunacy at me. And this is me saying I have a migraine already. So, no. Just no.
Just to go nowhere.
This is just.
My thing is, it doesn't matter what I say. It's going to be fake news. Come from the elite, deep state. It's good CNN. I don't know. It's
and look
going
at
to
you,
be coming
grammar
from
police.
Somewhere that it's not trustworthy. Yeah.
Yeah, you think you know so much just because you use big words. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always to no end. I'm not wasting my time.
Mm.
I give up. I'm like, nope, too stupid. I'm not doing it.
I mean,
I'll just get madder and madder.
I
Yeah.
feel like with this, because I don't get mad. I mean, I don't know. It's funny to me that they think that they're triggering me because I'm highly entertained by the rage that's coming from that side of the conversation. It makes me laugh the way that I would laugh at my poor sister when she sees this. She's like, "Why do you keep using my name?" But when she was little, it used to entertain me to. She'd get mad and she'd wanted to hit me, right? And I'd be like, "Okay, well, whatever."
Yes.
Well, she had a tendency to windmill fight, right? So I would put my hand on her
Right.
forehead and hold her away from me while she'd like be this, her arms would be flailing and running around like windmills. And I would stand there and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. And that's the way that I feel whenever I'm having a conversation with these completely ignorant, irrational, not at all in a right mind kind of people about anything to do with anything in the world today at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're gonna get mad. I'm gonna be laughing. I'm gonna put my hand on your forehead and watch you flail for a few seconds, and then I got it.
Right.
This is dumb. So
Yeah. I appreciate like so many people lately. Well, on my Facebook page, they've been honestly curious about what's going on. Like they literally want to know, like, well, what does this all mean? Yeah, it's like, well, good. We should be asking questions. You know what I mean? If you don't know, just ask.
well, and that's the thing. I think that one of the things I don't think a lot of people know is that it's not just that we're being kind to Ukraine by saying stand with Ukraine, right?
Right.
We are also understanding that we are defending the United States. At the end of the day, it comes down to our own national security.
That's
But I don't
right.
think a lot of people recognize that or realize that. I mean, there's so much that we
You're right.
really
Yeah.
don't, as people, we just don't know. And so I think when you do find something out and you learn something, then you can share it, or you can look it up and learn more about it. What is NATO? What does it mean to be a part of NATO? Why isn't Russia a part of NATO? When did they leave? All of these things, and see how then that affects us as a nation.
People ain't gonna do that. People ain't
See,
gonna
that's
do
the
that.
crazy, and it doesn't take that long because you just put it like I put it. It was looking up something about when Russia was told, get out of NATO, right? And it went to know that, and I couldn't remember anything about that for real. I mean, if I had to take a test, I probably guessed, it was a multiple choice question, I get the right answer. So I was looking it up, and it's just easy. You just put one little letter in Google, it gives you some suggestions, and it gives you some other questions that you can just click on, and it will answer things for you and tell you stuff, and you can look up some more things. And it's the simple things, right? You don't have to know, you don't have to give a dissertation. You don't have to do, any of this stuff. Just learn a little bit about our country.
Well, my footnote is, as I said, and I look at it like from 30,000 feet because I've been doing a deep dive on this particular part of our history for over a decade now, just randomly. But now it seems to be fitting. But I didn't realize until about 10 years ago that the Cold War had anything to do with World War II.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought the Cold War was only about the nuclear arms race. That we did the Manhattan Project. Once we had the A-bomb, then Russia had it, and so we've been trying to keep each other in check. That's the way I looked at it. I did not realize that World War I was started by land grabbing, just like World War II was. And what we realized is we got called in, we got dragged into it, whether we wanted to be part of it or not.
Right.
Both times, because people in Europe kept saying, I like that country, I'm gonna take it. but people already live there, right? And it's like, no, bitch, stay in your borders, right? Like that's some old bullshit. No, I live here. And so we were like, okay, look, everybody get back to your borders. After we won the peace in World War II, we were like, all right, we're gonna draw up a map and everybody stay in your lane, and then we won't have to deal with these world wars again. And we came from the west through Berlin to shut down Nazi Germany, and the Russians came from the east, and we're like, all right, there you go, Berlin, have your country back. And Russia was like, we gonna keep this shit. And we're like, no, you can't divide up lots. That's what the whole fucking thing was about. Go back to your borders. And they're like, no, this is our shit now. Right? And that peace is held. And so that's when we quit being buddies as countries. We've been like, yeah, y'all want some extra dumb shit. And they've been on that dumb shit for 75 years. When we grew up with the Cold War, they were coming down. Their people finally started to hear about Michael Jackson and Coca-Cola and Levi's, and they wanted a piece of the American dream. And Russia got scared, trying to crack down, and the people took them down, knocked down the wall. Now I get it. Okay, Putin's living in 1950. He's like, he wants to reshuffle. He wants everybody to be able to grab lots when they want to. If I conquer this country, then I get to keep it. And fuck you for intervening. Well, that's Neanderthalic. Like, that's really, barbaric and caveman thinking. We're trying to have a civilization here.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted. My dog's having a dream and he's barking.
I'm getting pretty sleepy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, this has been a long one. I probably should have stopped it a while ago.
No, but it's okay because it's an interesting conversation. And seriously, I mean, nobody's gonna people don't sit here and listen to the whole thing, like sitting there and watch it. But it's something that you can put on play and let it play while you're sitting at your desk doing your work or eating, like making dinner or whatever. I mean, and it's interesting and we are funny.
Yeah. And people should think about it. People should talk about it. Just because you're an elected official doesn't mean you've got all the answers either. So you got some common sense. Right. We want to hear it. Tell us something. Tell us what you think. This has been the New Progressives with Jenni and Tricia and me. Thank you.